All right, good evening, good evening. Welcome families to tonight's FAFSA Masterclass. I am going to immediately share my screen so that we can get started. So thank you so much to everyone who's tuning in tonight. I appreciate you. I hope that you will leave here tonight and hopefully my computer and technology is going to abide by us. Yes, it is. Hopefully you will leave here tonight a little bit more educated about the FAFSA, a little less stressed about the FAFSA. And so I want to make sure you have what you need. And so we are going to make sure that we are kickstarting this masterclass. You see, it's already timing itself and it's moving and doing its own thing, technology for you, right? And so I want to take a poll really quick. I already asked where you were representing from, whether you're from the DMV or whether you were from another state, whether this was your first time with us, or whether you're a returning family who are always rocking with us during our masterclass. Then I said, remember to mute yourself. Also, just the housekeeping stuff, right? Remember to mute yourself so that we can get a good recording so that if you miss something and you want to go back and take some notes, you can grab those notes because you can actually hear for those notes, right? And so thank you so much for tuning in. One more question before we kickstart, and you can put your comments in the chat. If you are joining because you are feeling like you are overwhelmed about this FAFSA, you are like, I don't know what they trying to do, why they trying to change it, why they changing the dates for the class of 2024, what is going on? If that is you, drop some kind of emoji in the chat so we can make sure we see what the atmosphere is like here in the chat so we know what we need. So any emoji, drop an emoji in the chat if you are feeling like, okay, girl, I had to be on this FAFSA Masterclass because I don't want to make no mistakes. I just want to get it right. So drop your emojis in the chat. Somebody got the sunglasses. People got the crying emojis. Listen, people come up with the creative emojis when you ask for an emoji in the chat. That would be like the favorite. Like you just see all kinds of things when you ask for emojis. But all right. So we're going to we're going to jump start, and we're going to move right along. Again, it's always that trying to let people in from the feed and then also let people in and keep going all at the same time. So y'all know I'm multitasking, work with me, but we're going to get this done and we're going to get it done right. So good evening, good evening. For those of you who are new to me and for those of you who are always rocking with me, I promise parents that are new, you are going to have an amazing time. I'm a sharpshooter. I don't babysit. I give you exactly what you need, plus a little bit of extra, plus a little bit of bonus, plus a little bit of throw in bonus. And so you're going to get everything you need while you're here on tonight's masterclass. If you are live with us and you just jumped on, hit your mute button so that everybody can get a clean recording. And so I am Regina Robinson. I'm the CEO and founder of Suited for Success College Planning Services, where we have been helping students for the last 15 plus years win the game of college admissions. And so we are proud of that. Every year we continue to work with more and more students. And so we are super excited to have you here today. I am a former high school educator, former college professor. I'm a graduate of Bowie State University, go Bulldogs. I am with my undergraduate degree, and I am a graduate of Georgetown University for my master's degree, go Hoyas. And so I got a lot of accolades. I got a lot of awards on my belt. I'm not going to bore with you with all of that. You can go to my website if you have not already gone to my website, and you can check my bio out there and read all about me and get all of the extras. But we have been helping students for the last 15 plus years gain over $25 million in scholarships and grants through our VIP College Bound program. And Amazon ranks our book, Winning the Game of College Admissions, which I have here, #1 for helping high school families navigate the college admissions process successfully. So guess what? Shameless plug. If you have not invested in getting your book, what are you waiting for? It is the best $20 investment you will spend on you and your child. So let's move on and let's get started talking about what's tonight. Topics of discussion: financial aid, scholarships, loans, and common questions. Why all three? Because the financial aid helps with all three of these categories. And so I want to make sure you're educated about all of these areas so that you can make the best decision for you and your student. So let's start. When does the FAFSA application open? Right now, they are saying December. And so in the past, it's always been the first of a month when it opens. So technically, they are hoping to launch December 1st. If something goes wrong, It might not open on the 1st exactly, but it will open in December, quote unquote, according to the people who host and the people who implement the FAFSA. So their target is December 1st. I have no control of whether it's going to launch on December 1st, but we are hoping it's going to be on December 1st. Now, we have class of 2024. We have some class of 2025 parents on here. I think we got some 2026 and some 2027 parents. Parents who are not the class of 2024. Hear me, this is not a conversation tonight that is for you to take action on. It is a conversation for you to take mental note and act when your child is a senior. Everything I am saying tonight is geared to senior parents only, class of 2024, because you cannot do the FAFSA when it opens because it's not your child's time until they are a senior. So I wanted to make that PSA up front so you won't go back and say, well, Ms. Robinson, you said on your masterclass for me to do X, Y, and Z. I said only if you're a class of 2024 family, okay? So 2025, 2026, 2027, take notes, but this is not for you to take action, okay? All right. The FAFSA is a free application for federal student aid, but it is a necessary requirement if you're seeking federal and state financial aid. It is not optional for you to afford your child higher education. The application determines how much financial aid a student is eligible to receive from the government based on need. And often students are required to fill out the FAFSA when applying for private scholarships and grants. So what does that mean? Because a lot of people always say, well, I make too much money, so I'm not going to be bothered with doing all the FAFSA anyway, because my child isn't going to get any aid. Parents, please, that's like parking lot gossip. Dismantle all the stuff you've heard at your kids' parking lot while you were waiting and dropping them off and y'all got to gossiping on the parking lot. If you do not complete the FAFSA and your student needs a scholarship that's maybe private, you've not completed the FAFSA, you've disqualified your kid from that scholarship. Let's say the college has some endowment money that they can give away and you've not completed a FAFSA because it's attached to a student who applies for the FAFSA. You've just given up that endowment money. Here's what a school will not do. Call you and tell you that you qualify for X, Y, and Z when clearly you have not completed the FAFSA. So please, again, make sure that you complete the FAFSA. Do not prejudge whether you are qualified or not. Let the schools determine that, okay? All right, so we dismantled that parking lot myth. There are 3 types of financial aid that is awarded through completing your FAFSA: grants, work study, and loans. Grants are awarded based on need, and it's money that you do not have to pay back. Work study is based on your students' criteria and what they are approved for financial aid. It's part-time employment to the students at their college to help meet their college costs. Now, here's a caveat of that. If your child signs up for work study because they qualify for it, and they get the check every 2 weeks or every week, whichever their campus pays, and they never turn that over to the school, that is money that's going to show that as a deficit in the end, if you were banking on that covering tuition expenses that was left over. So please, make sure you are paying attention to that. So if you had a balance of $7,000 and you said, okay, my student's going to do work study, their work study is a maximum of $1,500, and you're like, okay, I'm banking on that $1,500, so I'm going to go ahead and pay the remaining balance out of pocket. And then your kid doesn't turn in their, doesn't associate their work study money back, then you will have a $1,500 balance at the end of that semester. You'll be wondering where it came from, and it will be because your children or your child or your student did not use that money from work study. So please make sure if your kid qualifies for work study, you make sure you ask the prerequisite of the work study program and get clear at your student's college or university. Loans is money you borrow, and it's money you must pay back. So please keep that in mind. Loans are not a bad thing, and we will talk about that later on. New changes to the FAFSA, because I know a bunch of you jumped on like, okay, what's going to be these new changes that they're talking about all over the internet, all over the news, everything. So here are some of the new changes, and they're still working on more changes. So we will continue to update you. Removal of the number of family members in college from the eligibility calculation. So it used to be if you had additional children in school, that helped you in some way. Not anymore. Okay, so they have removed that. Another new change, the possibility for an SAI, which used to be called the EFC, if you've ever heard of that. They're now changing it to a new name, and it's going to be called Student Aid Index. And it gives you the possibility to be a negative number. It has never been that way in the past for a negative number. It has been zero, but it has never been a negative number. But they're allowing you with a minimum SAI of a negative 1,500 instead of zero. So they are changing how things are being considered, how people are getting more aid, and how much more aid would be afforded to them. Students no longer must register for selective service, which it used to be for male students. So male students no longer have to register to be a selective service student. Always would have parents when completing their FAFSA, oh, Ms. Robinson, do my kid need to do this selective service stuff, or should I let them do it for you? Because they used to do it for you, but you do not have to do it anymore. Another change is the number of students a family has enrolled in college will no longer factor into the calculation. So that was similar to the other side. So it's not going to factor into your actual calculation. Did it used to in the past? Absolutely. Will it anymore? No, it will not factor into your calculation. So you don't have to worry about that part. Okay. Next change, Pell Grant eligibility will be expanded. That's a good thing for those who qualify for Pell Grants. They're going to expand the Pell Grant, meaning give more money. So that's great for everyone. The maximum Pell Grant amount will be raised to $7,395 a year. Families who receive an SAI of 0 will automatically qualify for the maximum Pell Grant amount. That is great. It was not always that way, but now it is, and that's going to benefit those parents who qualify for Pell Grants. Now, I know somebody's saying, well, Ms. Robinson, I don't even know if I qualify for Pell Grant, and most likely I don't, so how does that affect me? It don't. You just don't get any. But for those it affect, we can clap for them. We can be grateful and helpful, and I know it's bad, not bad, but we can be celebrating for them, because that means they're going to get additional money. So somebody is getting the money, even if we're all not getting the money. New changes, another one is the new FAFSA introduces the term contributor. Here's where it's going to get tricky, parents, which refers to anyone who is required to provide information on a student's FAFSA form, including the student's spouse, a biological or adopted parent, or the parent's spouse. Being a contributor does not imply responsibility for the student's college costs. So I know we had a lot of questions about that, where we have a lot of different family dynamics. Of course, it is conducive to that specific family environment. So here's what I suggest. If you have a specific family environment question, drop it in the chat, send it directly to me. I will read it anonymously and give the answer if you have a specific family dynamics in the household question, okay? If you didn't already submit it. Here's things you will need when you are gathering and preparing your FAFSA application, okay? These are the items you want to have handy in case you need it, in case something goes wrong with obtaining your IRS data retrieval. You will need, of course, your username and password, which is called your FAFSA ID. In the emails that was sending out for registration, I believe we had the link of how you can actually create your FAFSA ID, but if not, don't worry, I have it up tonight, and I'm going to drop it in the chat just in case it wasn't in the emails, because I don't quite remember. But if it wasn't, I have the link for you, and it'll help you to go directly to there and be able to handle that for class of 2024 only. That's it, just class of 2024, not 25, 26, or 27. Next, you would need your W-2 forms, just in case you need to input manually some information. One of the changes is they're supposed to be improving the retrieval, that it dumps everything now and not select things now. And so hopefully that will take place. But again, you can expect to be some glitches. This is the first year they're rolling out these new changes, okay? Tax return. You would have your tax returns handy so that you can ensure that if there is any information, again, that doesn't transfer over correctly, you will have access to that close so that you can go ahead and have that, okay? Next, if any Social Security and VA benefits, bank statements, and of course, you are banking and hoping that the IRS database retrieval works for your family. Now, what happens? It's going to ask to verify your name, your social security number, your date of birth, your address, and then it will pre-populate and say, we have retrieved this family's information. Do you want to transfer it? And of course, we say yes, and it transfers over to the actual application, okay? So those are key things that you want to have handy. Take a picture of this so that you know exactly what you need to have out when you're preparing your FAFSA. Now, your tax return, it's 2022, right? Because we haven't filed 2023 yet. It's going to be 2022 tax return. Okay. Remember, the IRS database is attached inside the FAFSA application. So you will only get to retrieve that once you are in the application and it will come up on the screen. Okay. Now, what happens once you get through the entire application? You input all of your history. You put, most of you don't want to do the FAFSA because you don't want to put your business in the FAFSA applications. Parents, PSA, again, I told y'all Ms. Robinson's a sharpshooter. The government already know everything about you. You're not giving them anything new that they don't already know. So get your FAFSA done, parents, and don't trip off of them knowing your personal information. They already know it anyway. But you want to make sure your child can get as much money. So put your information in. When you submit your information, 2 to 3 days later, in the past was the time frame. Hopefully it's the same, if not quicker this year. You'll be able to retrieve what we call a student aid report. A student aid report simply is everything you included in the FAFSA will come up as a PDF document. Now, that information is then sent to, also what you see as an SAR report is what the colleges that you are listing sees as your report from the FAFSA as well. Now, why do you need the SAR report? Why should you download it and save that PDF to your folder, to your desktop computer or your laptop computer in a folder called College Bound, which all kids should have on their laptop right now anyway, is a folder. All of my shining stars must have a folder on their desktop that says College Bound, and everything college related goes in that folder with subfolders. So a subfolder would, of course, be FAFSA. Your SAR report will go in that subfolder, because if a scholarship requires you to submit an SAR report, you would simply upload that PDF document to the scholarship, and now you've met the requirements, okay? So remember, this is crucial to all my DMV people, well, my Maryland people. Every state, DC is not a state, so I don't believe they have a deadline because they're not a state, but Maryland has a deadline, Virginia has a deadline. Maryland's deadline for you to complete the FAFSA is March 1st. The overall deadline for the FAFSA is June. But if you are a procrastinator and you wait to June and you skip March, you automatically disqualify for any, what I told you was grants, scholarships, and then you can still get the loans, but you won't get those grants or scholarships. So parents, the FAFSA opens in December, class of 2024. The FAFSA opens in December. Do not wait to March, April, and May to complete it. December, get your FAFSA done by the end of the month. If not, first thing in January, you will exceed the March 1st deadline. To all my Virginia, my Pennsylvania parent, again, DC, I don't believe you have I don't know what your deadline is because you're not a state. But for those of you in the other states, please Google your FAFSA deadline for state grants and funding so that you can have that date mindful as well, okay? So that's your SAR report. It is important for you to keep for your records. Now, Once your child has received an acceptance class of 2024 parents, which hopefully they have already started coming in the mail. Kudos to all my 2024 shining stars and suited for success. Some of them have already completed all of their applications, submitted. Some of them are getting acceptance letters. And so we are excited up over here because we're ready for all the money that's coming in, all the yeses that are coming in. And so next is waiting for a financial aid award letter for every family. This letter is crucial. It will show you the amount of money that you received and how they break down what your costs will be. Now, here's another change that I have embedded into this slide. In the past, you could only include 10 schools in the FAFSA. Now, they have changed it. You can include 20 schools on your FAFSA, but here's Ms. Robinson's tip. You can only go to one. And so why would you be applying to 10, 15, and 20 schools? And you can only go to one, and parents, class of 2024, and this is a nugget for 25, 26, and 27. Every application costs money. So if you're willing to spend all this unnecessary money, and in the end your kid can only choose one, then you go ahead and do that by all means. I'm open to that if you're open to that. But you should be trying to save money so that you can prepare that for senior year expenses plus college expenses, okay? And so in the end, your kid can only go to one school, but they have now, with the December rollout, you can now put 20 schools on your FAFSA, okay? Every school should send you an award letter before you make a final decision. Why do you say that? Why would you commit to a school that might have a balance when another school might come behind them and have a zero balance, meaning zero out of pocket? Now, sometimes I have a daughter too who's now a senior in college. And so sometimes they can't always get their way. And sometimes as parents, we know just a little bit more for them that could be the best decisions, right? Especially when it comes to finances. They need to understand that, hey, the school shouldn't have been on your child's list if they didn't love this school. That's important. My daughter is currently a senior now, and we have not paid for her to attend college yet. And she's a senior. In fact, we get a refund check every semester. Won't he do it? Yes. And so literally my daughter is now at Bowie State, which is my alumni. However, she did not start there. She was at McDaniel College in Westminster, Maryland, which is a $65,000 a year school. And we got refund checks every semester. Parents, do the math. The money is out there. You just have to position your students to go to the right school so they can cash in on the money that the schools are offering. But looking at your financial aid award letter is important. So I'm going to show you how to go through this award letter so that you are one step ahead when the colleges start to send you out. Okay. Notice it says at the top, estimated cost of attendance is $55,000 a year. Yes, colleges cost that much. Some cost more. Tuition and fees, they break it down. It's $39,000. Housing and meals, $13,000. Books and supplies, $1,000, and personal and miscellaneous, $2,000. So that's all of what they're adding up to get to $55,000. Here's where I want to make sure parents are not, I always say misinterpreted, right? So look at this very closely. Notice here, this is not what it's going to look like, but this is what I wanted it to look like for you so you know how to pick out the difference. Most schools are not going to put this in different color code. And so I know you say, well, Ms. Robinson, why you show it to us like that? Because I want you to be able to pick out how to differentiate reading the award letter, right? Because I told y'all I'm all about giving bonuses tonight too. And this is a bonus. I do this with my clients and go through their award letters. But I'm doing it with you tonight so you understand how to help your child go through this as well. Notice they get offered a President's Scholarship. $20,000. Now, this is what you call merit aid. $20,000, they got that in merit aid. So they didn't care how much they got in financial aid, what your documents said. They didn't care how much you make, parents, and income. That didn't matter. Your child earned $20,000 based on their GPA and test scores if this school was a GPA and test score school. So they got $20,000, and that will be renewable for 4 years, only if your child maintains academic excellence, because they all have a GPA requirement, okay? Federal Pell Grant that came from completing the FAFSA, $1,200. Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, $1,000. All of these things are renewable for 4 years. If you only, well, the President's scholarships, if they maintain academics, these two lines could change, parents. If you go from all of a sudden working a job where you were maybe making $40,000 a year to all of a sudden going to a job you're making $150,000 a year, you won't see these two line items on your next award letter, okay? So they're not guaranteed line items. They're only renewable if you maintain a certain bracket for your income, okay? So I want to make sure that's clear too. Then you have what we talked about, federal work study, $3,000. Well, remember, if they don't give it back, then this will become $37,100, okay? Then you have the federal Perkins loan, $2,500, Stafford loans subsidized and then unsubsidized. And we'll talk about how those and what they mean. So notice how they included that, making you believe that that was possibly free money if you didn't read it correctly from left to right, top to bottom, left to right. I'm teaching you how to read these award letters, top to bottom, left to right, so you don't miss anything. And anything that says loans mean you have to pay it back. So please, please, please keep that in mind, okay? Keep in mind what's payable back and what's free to you. Now, notice this school, after all of these items are given, they still have a $34,100 balance. Now, how is that broken down? Because I know I can hear some parent like, where do they think I'm gonna get $34,100 from? Here's how they expect you to break this down, 2 different ways. Number one, you can borrow that entire $34,100, parents, in a parent loan. And we will talk about a parent loan in a little bit. Or you can go on a second route and break this down, $34,100 in 10 payments if your college offers a 10 payment plan, which would then be $3,410 or something like that. I think the math whiz per month. So do you have that in lieu of your monthly expenses you already have? So here's my bonus for this slide, but I'm not going to share it until I see you put in the chat some kind of emoji or something that says share the bonus. And then I'm going to give you a bonus of why and what this means, because this means something, but I want to tell you what it really means so that you can get to that place of being able to identify what it is that you need. But I'm not going to share the bonus unless I see a couple of people saying share the bonus. All right, because I know somebody said crying. Listen, I'm crying seeing that amount. I would be too, mom or dad. I would be crying saying that amount as well. So let's go ahead and share the bonus. Here's what I want you to understand about this. This would not be that amount if you are committed in your household to what I tell my clients, scholarship night in your house. Scholarship night means you are on every computer and every available hands in the house applying for scholarships, because that could then dwindle down some of this amount. That could then change what's coming out of pocket for you, because not all colleges even offer 10 payment plans. Some only offer 3. So how do you split up 3 times in $34,100? So parents, the money is out there. We need to position ourselves to make sure our children get the scholarships. So parents, from this night forward, if scholarship night did not exist in your house, create a night that's based on scholarship night. And I'm not just saying it has to be one night. It could be multiple nights. Create a night and come up with scholarships so that you can defer this $31,100 and bring it down to a lot less than $34,100. Now, here's a double bonus. This kid applied to this college. Let's just say it's your student in your house. They 9 times out of 10 never even look to see what the school qualifications were. right? Meaning whether they actually met the requirements to try and get more merit aid. So what students are doing is they're looking at colleges. They're not looking at the costs. They're not even looking at the requirements. Some of them are just applying because they either love it as your alumni, or they heard about it from the previous class, or their uncle or cousin goes to that college and they now want to follow in their footsteps. But they are not looking to see if they rank in the 50 percentile of that school. Parents, I promise you, this is golden. If you don't hear nothing else, you need to hear this. Go back, reevaluate your schools, make sure you are ranking. Our students only put schools on their list where they are ranking, and you need to have a balanced list. That means likely, target, and reach. You cannot have a college list that's full of reach schools and none that are likely a target, unless you have $34,100 sitting in a bank somewhere or more. So if that's not the case, you need to make sure that you are doing what it takes to have scholarship night and how your student ranks in the 50 percentile of their school to see if they're going to qualify for the top tier of merit aid to that college. So those are bonuses. Those are nuggets. Take them into consideration when you are considering and looking at your financial aid award letter. And remember, every college, you should review your financial aid award letter before you say yes and commit to a school. All right, a scholarship. Let's talk about scholarships. We just piggybacked off of that. Now we're going to drill it even more. A scholarship is an award of financial aid that you never have to pay back. It is formulated in several different ways. It is awarded based on different criteria, but it's usually in merit aid based on your GPA and your test scores only. Some private scholarships are based on community service. They're based on whether you're a military student. They're based on if you're a right-handed or left-handed student. They're based on whether you go to an HBCU, historically Black college or university, or a PWI, predominantly white institution. So there are a number of different scholarships and what they are based on. But here are some different types. Merit, which we talked about. Private could be from a bank. It can be from a store that you shop at. It can be, you see that here, we have stores. So some of you shop at Foot Locker, you eat at McDonald's, you eat at Burger King, you eat at, you shop at Kohl's. Kohl's have scholarships. So you want to look for these scholarships in these different stores. Your banks, some of your banks that you actually bank at offer scholarships. You want to cash in on that as well. Some scholarships are also financial need-based. Some scholarships, everyone in your state, there's senatorial scholarships and they're delegate scholarships, but your child must seek out and apply for them. Most senatorial and delegate scholarships go unawarded every year because most kids don't do them. You need to find out who's your senatorial and who's your delegate and apply for that money. They usually range from about $500 to about $1,500. That's still more than you had before you applied. So don't discount the cost of what they give. Also legislative as well. Your church that you attend often gives scholarships or maybe a free laptop. Whatever it is something towards what you need. Sororities and fraternities. Even if your parents are not in a sorority or fraternity, your students could still win scholarships. I know most people say, oh, you apply for these scholarships at the sororities and fraternities and only parents who are a part of it, kids win. That's not true because I'm not a part of a sorority and my child won sorority scholarships. So parents, they are out there. You have to first put yourself in alignment to apply for those scholarships. So again, scholarship night in your house should be non-negotiable. Here are some scholarship resource websites that you can go to. We also have our own Suited for Success scholarship membership. We send scholarships to your email every single month. You have to open it. You have to see if you qualify for it, and then you have to apply for it. It is literally a 1997 membership. But I promise you, if you have not been doing scholarships, it is well worth the investment of $19.97. If you win one $500 scholarship, you've paid for the membership for 4 or 5 years because the membership does go through college as well. So one scholarship will far exceed the $19.97 you are paying monthly. I can't understand why anyone wouldn't see that as a return on investment, especially if you know you haven't already been doing scholarships, you don't know where to find scholarships. We compile a list every month. It's usually over 50 plus scholarships every single month on that scholarship list. So again, that's open $19.97. You scan the code, it will take you to the page for more information. But here are free ones as well for resources. Problem with these are you got to actually compile the list yourself and do it and make sure you commit to actually doing it. Okay. So that's key. That's important. You have to make sure you are committed to following through and actually doing the scholarships on your own. Okay. So if you're not committed to doing them on your own, you want to make sure that you are going to get into some membership, even if it's not ours, get into someone's so that you can get some scholarships. Okay. If you are not muted, please be sure to mute yourself so that we can make sure we get a clear recording. Thank you. And so next, last but not least, is some more information. Please screenshot this slide so that you can get these databases and you can take action on making sure your students start completing these databases or creating a profile to these databases immediately. Our students get a list of scholarships every month. Oh, here go another bonus. See, I'm always remembering bonuses that my clients benefit from and giving them to you guys free on this masterclass. And my parents who are live can tell you, like, wait a minute, Miss Robinson, don't be giving out all the bonuses for free. We pay for that. Okay. But here is a bonus, right? When your child are applying for scholarships outside of you, they should create a text thread between you and them and screenshot them applying for scholarships so that you can prove they're doing the work. Because if not, how else do you know? Because if so, they'll tell you, oh, my dad, I applied to 10 scholarships today, but you have not seen 10 results. But if you have a text thread that you guys are committed to, then they can show you the results of them applying for scholarships when you are not present and they are doing scholarships. Now, I know you're saying, well, how many scholarships should we be doing a month? As many as possible. My students have to do 10 to 15 a month. The commitment is up to you. The commitment is going to be the determination of whether you are going to go to the school that you desire to go to or the school that your child is forced to go to. And can I tell you, parents, as a parent, you're going to have parent remorse. If it's the break between them choosing this college over that college and you didn't implement scholarship night in your house, and it is a difference of you being able to say, I cannot afford this school. And the difference is it could have changed of whether you could afford this school if you had just held your students accountable to applying to scholarships. I told you guys my daughter attended a $65,000 a year college. And she got refund checks every semester. She is now at Bowie State and we still getting refund checks. Create the environment for them to do it. Why? Because I was on one laptop, she was on another laptop. I was on one cell phone, she was on another cell phone. We were running 4 apps at a time. Because guess what? Colleges are in a business and they're in the business of taking your money. And if you don't care about giving up your money, surely they will take it. I don't know about y'all parents, but listen, I'm trying to save all the money I can. So when she is done with college, she will go ahead and move on up out of here and go somewhere else. Okay. And that's the money you can invest into your child for they can go in and get their first house or whatever that might be. Right. So get those scholarships now. You can't determine if you're going to win them, but I guarantee you won't if you don't apply. A student loan is a type of loan designed to help students pay for post-secondary education, and it is borrowed money. You must pay it back. I told you guys there is nothing wrong with loans. Here's what's wrong with loans. If you borrow more money than you need, thinking that it's a way, I'm going to say it, for you to remodel your kitchen, buy a new car, or do whatever. It's not. Parents, that money must be paid back. And so please only borrow what you need. When you complete the FAFSA, it will determine whether you get the federal Stafford loan, subsidized loan, or on the next screen, you will see unsubsidized loan. Federal Stafford loans are loans that must be repaid. Every last one of these loans are loans that must be repaid. First-year undergraduates are eligible for $5,500. And every year it increases. Subsidized Stafford loans are a loan for which the government pays the interest while you are in college and 6 months after you graduate, students, you are responsible for paying it back. But how many parents do I have online who are still praying and still hoping and wishing that you're going to get that email that says your loans have been paid off because you are decades later still trying to figure out how to pay for your loans? We all know that that 6 months and that whole government paying your interest while you're in college is just a fluke. Soon as that 6 months is over, all that impounded interest drops on those loans, and now your kids are in a world of debt. But again, are loans bad? No, only if you borrow more than you need. Subsidized loans are the best loans because what it does is it allows you to not accrue the interest while you're in college. But when you get an unsubsidized loan, it accrues interest the day you borrow all the way until you graduate 4 years later. So if every year you take an unsubsidized Stafford loan, is accruing interest if you do not do what I am about to give you as a bonus. I tell each and one of my parents, if you have money somewhere sitting, become your own lender. Do not borrow in unsubsidized loans unless you have to. They're usually about, you saw it on the award letter, about $1,500 for that year. Here's what happens. Borrow from yourself, set up a repayment plan, because the amount of interest that's going to accumulate on that loan will be astronomical for real. So if you can lend it to your child, you do just that. And then you set up a repayment where you are paying back that amount, because again, it's only about $1,500. You want to use yours, then using theirs, which will then accumulate to way more than $1,500 when the time comes. Okay. Now, here's what happens for a second alternative. Let's say you don't have the opportunity or the luxury to be your own lender. There is nothing wrong with that. Please don't beat yourself up about that. Here's what you need to do. Bonus again. Simply pay the interest every single month. When you send in the information, they will let you know what that interest is. You can contact the lender, find out what that monthly interest is, and you pay it each month. It will help that student and your family not to have the astronomical debt coming out of college. So again, you are allowed to pay the interest monthly. Do that. I highly recommend that if you don't have the opportunity to be your own lender. Now, let me clear this up. PSA, because I hear someone saying that I never said borrow it from your 401k plan. That is not what I said. I never told you to get a GoFundMe. That is definitely not what Ms. Robinson said, because what happens when the $1,500 comes for the second year and don't nobody want to fund you? Now you're $1,500 short and you don't know how you're going to keep your child at that school. I said, if you have the $1,500 laying around and you can use it, then become your own lender. I just wanted to clear that up. I don't want to make sure anyone gets that part confused, okay? Parent Plus loan. Parents, get close, because I want to make sure you hear me on this. And I definitely want to make sure you have all clarity around borrowing money before you borrow money. You saw that balance at $33,000 and something dollars. If you were to take that out in a Parent Plus loan, you are 100% responsible for that $33,000 plus, okay? It is based off of your credit check that determines whether you're approved and what interest rate and what repayment plan you will receive. And so again, that's $33,000, parents. Keep that in mind when you are borrowing, because you owe that money back. And if your kid decides to go to school for the first semester, get there, and after 2 or 3, 4 weeks at school, they decide this ain't for me. Well, guess what, mom or dad? You don't get that $33,000 back. You still owe that $33,000. And they're not going to say, oh, well, don't worry, Miss whoever, Miss Robinson, don't worry. We'll go ahead and take that $33,000 off of your balance, and you don't have to worry about it. That's not how this goes. If you borrow that $33,000, you owe it back. So here's to the parents who are trying to convince their child to go to college, who is saying, Mom or Dad, I'm just not college cut out. Find another avenue for them before you invest $33,000. Let them start at a community college. Let them be able to out-pocket that cost, or you out-pocket that cost. And then in 2 years later, they can meet all their friends at that college or university when they are more sure that college is for them, and you would have spent less money. And that is a nugget that I needed every parent to get close so they can hear, because I don't want to see you get into debt and then there is no way out. So please remember, a Parent Plus loan is assigned 100% to us as parents, and there is no turning back. And I know someone is saying, well, Ms. Robinson, what happens if I get denied for a Parent Plus loan? Well, here's what's going to happen. They're going to allow your child to borrow more money under their name, but it still won't be enough to cover the full cost. So you will still have to come out of pocket for something. So prepare for that financially. They will not allow your child to borrow $33,000. So you still will then have to create a plan that would allow them to pay off the remaining balance that they won't let your child borrow. The moral of loans: they are necessary for some families so that you can experience higher education. Just remember, don't borrow more than you need. And remember, parents, you are 100% responsible for their Parent Plus loan. It is time to have a candid conversation, a table dinner conversation, a hard conversation with your children about what the budget is and what it is not. If you have yet to look at some of the prices of the schools your children have on their list, now is the time. I've been having my parents do net price calculators since they first started creating their list, because you need to know financially what you can afford and what you cannot. Here's another bonus. Colleges go up every year, a certain percentage, some higher than others. Some money is non-renewable, as I just broke down when I showed you the award letter. Do not plan for college for 1 year. Make sure you budget for all 4 years. Common questions that most parents have that we have been asked in the past. I said this earlier, the parent who's saying, I make too much money, I'm not going to complete the FAFSA. I told you why it's important that you complete the FAFSA, because if not, you could pass up on some possible money for your student, and no one should be willing to pass up free money. My parents are separated, and this is probably a big question, / divorce. Which parent's financial information should I include? The rule for FAFSA is the parent who spends the 50% or more. I think they used to say 75, 80. I always say 50. Just break it down the middle. The parent who spends 50% or more of the student being at their home plus their expenses on that student is the parent who should be completing the FAFSA. Now, you didn't hear it from me, and if you say you heard it from me, I'm going to say you didn't hear it from me. But if you're a parent and you're two parents and you are never married and you're not even together, but you both have this child, one parent makes more money and the other parent doesn't make as much money, you better go with the parent who don't make as much money. But you did not hear that from me. That is your decision to make. I'm just trying to give you nuggets that I would give my parents if we were on our Zoom FAFSA information session. Okay. So again, parent who makes the least amount of money, even if they're not the 50% parent of the expenses, but they make the less money, they're the most ones that can get the most money, then you're going to go with the benefit. Okay. Now we're going to move on for that, because I don't want y'all to say Ms. Robinson said that. I am a high school student and a single mother living on my own, or I am a high school student and I have a child. Should I seek independence so I can receive more aid, or should I include my mother's information? Since you are a single parent, you are already considered independent. Now, I can hear a whole bunch of parents on it. Oh my God, well, how can I make sure my child is independent? You cannot, unless your child has a child. Unless your child is a ward of the court, that means both parents are deceased and you've taken guardianship of a child that was maybe a niece or a nephew or another family member. That is the only way you can become independent. It does not matter that your child is working a part-time job, so they want to go based on their own income. That is not how this works, parents. You must be on your child's FAFSA if you are living. Period. If you are still living and breathing and you're on this masterclass, that means you have to go on your student's FAFSA, okay? Unless you are a parent who took over that student because their parents were deceased, you're now a guardianship, and so that student is technically independent, okay? So I hope that clears up for any parents who have that scenario. Should we wait until our taxes are done? You cannot complete the FAFSA unless your taxes are done. Now, here's another PSA. Here's another bonus for all my procrastinator parents. I told you you're using 2022. Please don't be a parent on here who has not completed their 2022 tax returns. If that is you, I'm not judging. I'm just going to give you the public service announcement. Go get your taxes done this week or this month so that they can register in the IRS's database. Otherwise, when you get into FAFSA, you won't be able to retrieve them. You won't even be able to complete it. So if you've yet to do your 2022 because you're trying to clear up some stuff, clear it up and get your get your taxes done because your student needs you and they can't do it without you. Here are some extra bonuses for you to consider, things that you need to know. Know the cost of the colleges, I just said that, of your students are applying to. Run your net price calculator, find out how much you could approximately be responsible for. Apply for scholarships through your college and department. I got one more nugget, and I promise y'all, I'll never give this nugget out on my master classes, really. But if I get enough of people putting in share in the chat, then I'm going to come back and share that nugget before I move from this slide. But I got to see enough people saying share for this one, because when I say this one, you can get off after this nugget. You could probably get off after this nugget because it is the golden nugget that only my shining stars know, only my clients get. But I'm going to go ahead and give it to you tonight. Many colleges offer scholarships, grants, or work study to incoming students, and they also offer department scholarships. What do I mean by department scholarships? Let's say your student is interested in theater, or let's say your student is interested in psychology or biology. They might have extra scholarships for those departments for incoming freshmen. You'll never know if you're not out there looking and doing your due diligence and research, okay? So make sure you are doing your research. All right, I'm checking the chat. Someone says, share the golden nugget. Share, please. All right, so here's the golden nugget. Here's what you need to know. This is truly golden. This is truly an over-the-top bonus. Write this down or listen and get close, right? Get in close so you can hear me. When your students are class of 2024, listen for notes 25, 26, and 27. Class of 2024 parents. When your child hits submit on their applications, if you have not checked first, it does not mean it guarantees them for all scholarship money. So here's what you need to do. You need to call the college admissions office and have your students say this. Hi, my name is Regina, and I am highly excited to be applying to your college as an incoming freshman. And I just wanted to find out if when I hit submit on my application, does it qualify me for all scholarship money, or do I need to apply to scholarships separately for your college? Now, here's a double bonus. If the person says it does not qualify you for all scholarship money, remain on the phone, be on your computer and ask them, oh, great. Okay, I'm happy you cleared that up. Can you tell me exactly where I need to go on the website so that I can access all of these scholarships available to me? And then you want to create a spreadsheet, get all those scholarships in order and submit those scholarships because each and every one of them have a deadline. So you want to make sure your student does not miss out on money and they don't miss the deadline. All right, told y'all that was going to be golden. Make your phone calls this week, class of 2024, so that you know if all of your schools qualify once you hit submit for as much money as possible. Take time to compare your financial aid award letters like we talked about, 2024. Know what financial documents your schools require. Here's the deal. There is not only one application for the FAFSA. The FAFSA is the application that 100% schools require. There is also another financial application out there called the CSS Profile. That application is extensive, and I'm talking extensive. Most Ivy League upper tier schools require that application. If you simply go now and Google CSS Profile schools, they will give you a list. Compare that list to your child's top list of schools, see which ones require CSS Profile, and get started completing that document when it opens as well. If your family dynamics change after you complete the FAFSA, make the necessary changes so that your information is honest and up to date. So let's say all of a sudden both parents are, when December opens and you're a two-parent household or you're one parent and everyone's working and getting income, and then all of a sudden, God forbid, something happens and you lose your job. You need to put a hardship letter in immediately to your college, letting them know the change so that they can see if they're willing to reflect that and give back some aid to your student. Okay. Why? Because the schools has extra money. You just got to be willing to ask. Now, I am really in a good mood tonight because I'm just dropping nuggets crazy and extra bonuses crazy. One of my former parents is here tonight, Mr. 3 Ivory. She was on this same, I think, FAFSA Masterclass. No, on another one of my master classes for her student. And she was preparing for choosing between a school. And I said on that masterclass, and it was a bonus, but she had already knew it, but she implemented it. I said, if you have not called your school, so class of 2024, get close and listen. So once your award letters come in, once your acceptances come in, never be afraid to ask for more money. She called that college, said that there was a deficit between what she could afford and what they were offering. Did they have any more money to give? And do you know that college gave her daughter more money? So listen, colleges will not offer you money if you don't ask, but you never know if you never ask. So 2024 parents, before you sign that dotted line in the end, don't forget to call and ask for some more money, just in case they are willing to give you more money. And so I say all the time, there's power in the ask. Make sure you're asking questions. Read all documents in its entirety, especially that award letter. Remember, top to bottom, left to right. Read every single line so that you don't assume and have the wrong misinterpretation, okay? Have a discussion with your student about refund checks, parents. Here's the deal. The refund checks are most likely given to them. Can I tell you, a kid has never seen a refund check or never seen a check in that amount when they're little part-time jobs. So if they get that check and you haven't had that conversation with them, they spending that money. They're going straight to the bank. But you need to make sure they understand that that check is so that you can put it in the bank in case the next semester there's a deficit, or the next year there's a deficit, and you now have those refund checks to prepare you. I told you my daughter's in year 4. We have not spent not one refund check. Why? Because if come year 4 they got amnesia or something, we're gonna roll those refund checks out and smack them onto Bowie's cashiers. Okay, so please don't let your children just go having a good time with spending their refund checks. Now, I know some parents are saying, whoa, Miss Robinson, this was way too much. I'm stressed out. I still don't know what I'm going to do when this FAFSA opens. Don't worry. I got you covered. We do support families in completing the FAFSA. You do not have to be one of our shining star families for us to help you with the FAFSA. We do it. Now, I know parents are saying, well, you cost for us to do it? Absolutely, because it's a part of my time, and my time is valuable. And so we get on the Zoom, we input all your information. I make sure you don't make no mistakes. I make sure you don't get anything wrong, and we complete your FAFSA. If it's a single household, it's $150. If it's a married, it's $200. I know you're saying, well, why is it different? Because I got to put in both parents' information as opposed to one parent's information. And so we're on a little longer when it's 2 parents as opposed to when it's just 1 parent. They're a little bit easier. So what you can do if you need support when the FAFSA opens in December, promise you my calendar is already half full because every one of my shining stars get an appointment. Every previous parent that I've done the FAFSA for renews every single year. So my calendar is already filling up. Please, parents, please don't wait. If you want help and you know you need help, click the QR code, take a screenshot of this picture and book. Why? Because my calendar is closed during the time when the FAFSA opens. So I only opened up 1 week to complete FAFSAs, and half of that week is gone. So please grab your time now and don't wait, or otherwise you can grab time after January 2nd. Why? Because I closed November 16th through January 2nd. I only opened up the first week of December when the FAFSA opens to help parents get their FAFSAs done. And then I won't be back again until January 2nd. So if you don't grab one of those December dates in that first week, you'll be rolled into my group that will get it done in January when I return. But please do not procrastinate. If you know you're scared, if you know you don't want to make any mistakes, please get on our calendar and make sure we can jump on the Zoom. It takes about approximately 1 hour. It really doesn't. We're on and off in about 15, 20 minutes. And please know, let me make the PSA, that FAFSA appointment is not for you to try and say when we're done in 15 minutes, oh, but I booked for an hour. No, no, no. I only put that approximately so that I have enough time with you just in case the FAFSA runs into some problems. And it is not a free consultation session for you to pick my brain on you and all your children's issues and problems. It is strictly for us to get on, complete the FAFSA, and that is it. So let me make that PSA so there's no misunderstanding, okay? So please keep that in mind. Please go ahead. Once you click the link, you process your payment, it will pop up my calendar and show you all the dates. If for some reason one of those dates in that first week doesn't pop up for you that work for you, send me an email. We'll make sure we get you scheduled for a date. Here's what I know. I had a parent 5 years ago, working with her. She was one of my shining stars. Me, her, and her daughter sat down. We started the FAFSA. She didn't have all the information. I said, okay, well, we'll come back. We'll get onto it. She went on her own, didn't tell me or her daughter, completed her daughter's FAFSA and did it wrong. She missed out on cashing out on $5,000. $5,000, not just for the year, $5,000 each semester. So how much does that equal? $10,000. Why? She put in something I would have never let her put in because it wouldn't have been information that they could find out. But she tried to be all willy-nilly, jumped the gun. Her daughter was so mad. But by the next year, it was hard for us because we had to then put in writing and then in letters, and I had to help them create it so that they can try and give her back that $10,000 year 2 and year 3, because her daughter, we put her on a 3-year plan and she graduated in 3 years instead of 4. But just imagine, mom could have saved $10,000 on her child's education and free money. But that was $10,000 she had to pay out because she gave information she should have never given. Parents, please, 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 I cannot stress enough, if you are not sure and you don't have any clue, it doesn't mean it's a reflection of you. It just means that you want support. It just means that you want a second eye and you want to make sure you get it right, which is totally understandable. We will be there to support you. Another family, I'm going to give you these guys scenarios because I want to make sure they're not for you. Second family, my parent, she had a son. He was going to Bowie State. This was years ago. He was going to Bowie State. She said, Mr. Roberts, I don't understand why we didn't get no money to school. Talk about we make way too much money. Well, I don't feel like we make way too much money. So she called. I said, well, call and set up an appointment with the financial aid advisor. She did just that because I did not help her with her FAFSA because she did it on her own. She said she could handle it. She sat down with the financial aid advisor and she said, well, ma'am, your family makes over $280,000 a year. You didn't think you would qualify. Most financial aid is under the poverty level. You didn't think you would qualify for that, right? So the mother said, what? 200 and what a year? We don't make that much money. She had put in her income, doubled it and doubled her husband's because she had thought that's what the line item meant for her to do. She had no idea of that mistake. But when they've already processed your FAFSA, there's no going back for that year. They just revamped her, looked at it and said, okay, but you still don't qualify for anything from this year, but get it right next year and we'll see if it puts you in the qualification for any other possible grants or endowments that we might have available. Parents, you get one time to make a mistake and then it could cost you years of possible aid that you could have been receiving. So again, we are available to you if you need that support. We are here to support you in completing the FAFSA. Again, you click the QR code for which one relates to you. You process it. It will give you my calendar automatically. And then once it does, you will be able to schedule your time and you'll see it's blocked off and it has that December week. And then that will be another one. Okay. All right. So let's go to all of the questions you have submitted. I am going to go through the questions you have here in the feed, and then I am going to go to the questions that you also submitted. So, because some of you are repeating the questions you already submitted as well. And so I'm just going to double through the feed first. And then I will ask at the very end if you want to come off mute and have any questions that didn't get addressed, you can come off mute and ask that question as well. But let me go through all the questions first as I'm scrolling through. Someone asked if it was going to be recorded. I already said yes, it would be recorded. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through until I get to your questions. Oh, thank you for rocking with Miss Quentin Bailey said, I'm always rocking with Miss Robinson from New York. Shout out to New York. Can students from the class of 2023 still apply for FAFSA? No, only class of 2024. If you have oh wait, I'm sorry. Can students from, I'm like, wait a minute, 2023, that's already passed. Can students from the class of 2023 still apply for FAFSA? Are you meaning apply for FAFSA because you're just now going to college as a spring semester student, or you have to clarify that more? So when I get ready to open the lines for coming off mute, you'll need to come off mute and ask that, okay? So I can get more clarity, so I can give you the correct answer. My daughter is working. Can we apply using her income? Absolutely not. Someone said, how do we get to the IRS database? Remember, it's inside the FAFSA. It's not you get to it. It's embedded in the FAFSA, and it will ask for you or us to bring it up, and we connect to it that way. 22 income. Does the Maryland deadline apply to the state you reside in or the state of the university? Both. So what is your state deadline and what is the state deadline for the universities you are applying to? That is a two-factor. So your state must get it in. The state you are going to, you must meet their deadline as well. Because if they have money that's assigned to you making it before their deadline, that's important. What if you have a child in school and you're trying to get funds to get your child to go to private school? Okay, so for that particular question, you'll have to come off of mute when we get to the open lines, okay? Because I need more clarity on what you're trying to ask me. Okay, I'm jumping down to any more questions. Let me see. If my spouse is not my child's biological nor adopted parent and we filed married, filing separate, do I have to include my spouse's financial/tax information on the FAFSA? Not if you filed, well, it's two folds to that, because now with the new changes, it might make you, but not make them count towards you. And so that is still something we're waiting for it to unfold. In the past, if you filed married separately, you would include just your information, okay? My daughter's planning on going to a small Bible college. They don't offer a lot of scholarships through the school as it is a ministry school. We will start looking through the scholarship sites that you listed. Is there any hopes that some of these scholarships might be available for a 4-year Bible college? I would do a Google search specifically for colleges, for scholarships for students going to ministry, going into ministry, or students going into seminary or stuff like that. I would look specifically on Google for that so that you can get as many scholarships to pop up as possible. How many months bank statements will I need for the FAFSA? No, you don't really, most of you know about your bank account, so you really don't need per se a bunch of statements. Here's what I'm going to say, and I didn't say it. If you said I said it, I didn't say it. If they ask for, here's what I say all the time. If you have $10,000 in your savings account today, if your roof blows off tomorrow, would you have $10,000 in your savings account? I'm just saying, that's all Ms. Robinson gonna say. You take it and interpret it the way you want, but if I'm gonna help you with your FAFSA, I'll help you interpret it the right way. But that's all I'm gonna say for tonight on this masterclass. It says, does it matter if we complete early December or before deadline for determination of funds to be awarded? Great question. Money is given out on a first come, first served basis. So if you show up late to the party, you will surely get what's left over in the food. And you know that means everybody's touched over it. Everybody's already got some of it. And all the stuff that you wanted is no longer there. So parents, if the FAFSA opens December, here is a date for you to put in your calendar. January 15th. Here's a second date for you to put in your calendar. January 31st. Pick one of them, don't go past it in completing your FAFSA. There's no reason for you to procrastinate, get it done. How does the SAI work? The expected family contribution, which is now the SAI, means that you're going to input your information. They're going to, based off of your financial information that's transferred from your taxes, goes into the database, and they're going to submit you. When it's done, it will show up at the bottom and say, here is your SAI contribution. That number is what your SAI is, but it is based off of what you put in that's coming from your tax returns, which each family on here is different because each family makes a different amount of money. Do schools know that you included other schools on your FAFSA, and does that impact what another school will offer in aid? They, of course, know you because every parent in the world they know is completing a FAFSA for every school they apply to. Here's what you can do. They claim it didn't matter in the past. They're not saying anything yet about that for the future. So here's what I tell all parents. Put in your FAFSA, list your colleges, rank them best off of what is your number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, however many schools you're applying to. Put them in that order like that, based off of the ones you love the most. Now, I'm not saying that makes a difference because we don't know. They have not dispelled that yet. But if you want to just make sure you're ahead of the game and you're on top of things, then do it that way. At what income amount do you have to report your students' income? If your students have not filed tax returns, you don't. If your students do not, most of our students are not making enough money to do taxes. And so here's what I tell each family. Keep this in mind. Kids get about what, $300 or $400. You can hold off on filing taxes for 3 straight years. Why let them file to get $300 or $400 and then possibly run you over in the income amount? And then now you don't get qualified for something because you put in their income because you let them file taxes. Listen, pull back, hold off. They're not getting that much money to really get a real tax return refund. Okay. So parents, keep that in mind. What do I do? Miss Harris, I will make sure you get that. I'm going to write your name down and make sure we get that to you. Not sure why it's not popping up, but I will make sure we send you a message, okay? Once the award letter is received, should one call the admissions office or the financial aid office at a university to ask for more money? Both. Admissions to see if there's any more scholarships, and financial aid is the number 1 office that you call. This parent is asking from the bonus that I gave. Call the financial aid office. That spill was for the financial aid office. Now, when you get on the phone with them, they might redirect you back to admissions. Let them do that. But in most cases, it's the financial aid officer. The reason why, when my daughter was at McDaniel College, the reason why we were never in a deficit is because the financial aid officer knew me by name. I knew her personal cell phone number. Why? Because she got to know me, and I made sure my daughter went up in there on a regular basis, took her some Starbucks gift cards and the whole 9 parents. We do what we gotta do. And when our state grants got messed up at one point, she was on it looking for extra money from endowments and scholarships that was given from donors so that we can come up with the difference of that grant money. So parents, your best friend becomes your financial aid director. Whoever that is, make sure your child finds out or you find out. They're your best friend. And you treat them like they're your best friend. Don't call there with no drama and no attitude, parents. Call there nice as possible. Tell them, oh, I hope you're having a great day today. I hope you had a blessed week. Listen, I'm telling you, they will remember that. And it will pay off for you. You want to cash in however we can cash in as parents. Do we apply to schools first? Early decision, and then FAFSA by deadline. So remember your school applications, parents, please hear this, class of 2024. Your applications and your FAFSA are 2 different connectings. They don't go like this right now. Get your applications done ahead of time. Then your FAFSA opens in December. Do not hold your applications waiting for your FAFSA to be done. That's not how that goes, okay? Or as long as FAFSA has been applied to before accepted. Don't worry, the schools will not hold your acceptance waiting for your FAFSA. That's not what they will do. So what happens is they're going to get a student who applies. That student is applied whether they're accepted or denied. If they're accepted, they're going to be waiting for a FAFSA to come in. When the FAFSA comes in, they're going to connect the dots and then go from there. So please don't wait. We had a significant income loss in 2023. Can I write a hardship letter to FAFSA? Not to FAFSA parents. FAFSA is not the people who award you money. Remember, your colleges are the people who award you money. The FAFSA is a database. It collects your information, and then your information is given to the colleges, and the colleges award you. So if you have had a significant income change or anything changes in anything, you are to send those letters to your colleges. Now, let me give y'all some feedback if y'all ain't using Chat GPT and AI. If you don't drop in there, I've had a financial hardship in 2023. My child is off to college. She's interested, or he or she is interested in your college. However, the cost has changed and we are not at the expense that we was at before. Write me a letter, and watch it write you the letter of a masterpiece to send to that college. All you have to do is tweak it, change it a little bit here and there, and here it comes. So parents, that was a nugget that you need to use if you need to send these schools some hardship letters. Let ChatGPT write your hardship letter and watch how it comes out. Make sure you share it with Miss Robinson. Say, Miss Robinson, girl, look what ChatGPT sent me, so we can laugh together, okay? It is generally advised to apply in-state for higher grant scholarships or just as much for out-of-state schools. Okay, is it generally advised to apply in-state for high? So if you apply for colleges in-state and you don't qualify for grants, it doesn't matter whether you apply for in-state or out-of-state if you do not qualify for grants. Now, if you qualify for grants, parents, and you have an in-state college, which all kids should have a Maryland college if you live in Maryland, all kids should have a Virginia college if you live in Virginia, and DC, it doesn't matter because, you know, they have that whole out-of-state, in-state thing that they give credit up to $10,000. Now, if you are awarded grants, your child cannot take that grant out of the state. They will have to pick that Maryland or that Virginia school to keep that grant. Otherwise, you forfeit the grant. The only way they can take that grant out of state is if they're majoring in something weird that's not offered in your state. So you needed to apply to schools out of state in order to have your major. Then you have to go through the steps, and it's possible that they will grant they will give you your state grants to go to another state. Katrina said this information is priceless. Thank you. Okay, now let me go to the questions you had just to see if I missed any, and then I'm going to let you come off of mute and we're going to answer any other questions. Okay, I already answered that one. Okay, someone said, what does a FAFSA look like when completing for your college student and now for your high school senior starting college next year? Parents, I'm so happy that question was asked because we need to know how many, if you are a parent, I'll need to ask in the comments, if you are a family who has a current college student and a new senior preparing to go off to college, please hear me. Your new student is their own individual self. They need their own FAFSA ID. And you can still use the same ID you use for the first child, but this student has their own application. Please remember that, because if you go like, oh, I just assume they're going to connect together, you're going to make this second kid miss out. They need their own ID with their own social security number, date of birth, and name. And you can use the ID you use for the older child and use to sign their FAFSA, okay? Hopefully that cleared that up for any family who has more than one child. Okay. Someone had asked about 2021 taxes. I clarified that and said it is not your 2021 taxes, it's 2022. Someone said, is there a website that allows you to practice with completing the FAFSA before? No, the FAFSA usually have a PDF document of it where you can print it out, but I don't think it's available now because they haven't released it yet. We did that one. Someone said, if you have two students attending college in the fall, will the FAFSA look at EFC for each student if they're siblings? Remember, you saw that one slide that said, if you have multiple siblings, it used to matter. It no longer matters anymore. Dang. It used to matter. It doesn't matter anymore. It says, when is the right time to submit the FAFSA? When it opens. Don't wait. How important is it to complete the FAFSA? We said that. Very important. Do not miss doing it. When is the deadline for the FAFSA? I told you in June. So please don't miss that deadline. Does one or both parents complete? If you are married, both parents complete both parents' information go in the FAFSA. Remember, the FAFSA is your child's application. As parents, you just put your information in their application and you are the signer. Now, remember, I told you each student needs a FAFSA ID. Only one parent. If you're a two-parent household, only one parent needs a FAFSA ID. Now, if the new rollout changes, they might require both parents to get an ID, but if not, just one parent needs the ID. I highly recommend the parent who's listed on the tax return first to be the one with the ID, okay? It says, if my child's father and I have never married and never lived together, and I am the primary caretaker, remember, the parent who has the child the most and spends 50% of the money, unless that other parent makes less money. How does household income determine if you will receive anything? It's the number one factor. You're gonna put in your income, and then it's gonna tell you whether you receive whether you receive financial aid. How can we ensure that we get the most money possible from schools? Through merit aid. That's where most of the college money comes from. Scholarships and grants and stuff is just a little bit, but the merit aid is the first way for you to pay for your child's college education. Does my grades impact how much I get for school? Not for the FAFSA, only for merit aid. When can I begin the FAFSA? December, not a day before, until they roll out. If you do it before December, that means you're doing the wrong application. Let me see. Someone says, should I retire before it's time for my child to graduate? Not necessarily. There will be a lot of deciding factors to whether I would say yay or nay to that. I'm on my parents' bank accounts. Do I need to report that? No. The account is mainly their Social Security, and I don't deposit anything. If you're on your child's bank account, if you have a child maybe, or if you're saying you're a parent and you're on your parents' bank accounts, no, you don't have to report that. If you are like caretakers of helping your parents manage their stuff, no. Someone add, how many schools can I add? Remember, 20 schools. Someone says, do I have to disclose both income of mine and my spouse? Yes, if you're married. Is there any advantages for a married couple to file in separate taxes? No, not if you're married and still together. No. And especially if that second parent is the parent. No. Otherwise, that means you would have to change all of your child's applications and all of their information. It says, will the new date change merit money? No, it will not. Someone says, my husband and I are getting divorced. How does that work? So they still look at it, unless you are officially divorced before filing, you are still technically married to them. All right, so those were all the questions that was on the sheet. I'm gonna open up the lines. Oh, let me see if I missed any new ones. And then FAFSA by deadline or zone. I just registered for FAFSA help, but it is counted not pop up. Okay, so remember, Ms. Harris, I got you for sending you an email because you said you registered and it didn't. You registered for me to help you with the FAFSA, but the calendar didn't pop up. I'll send you an email. If anyone else is experiencing that, drop your name here in the comments and I'll make sure we send you that. I'm not sure why the calendar isn't popping up. Okay, I think if I'm in the process of amending a 2022 return, should I wait for that to be completed before FAFSA? Yes, it will not allow you to pull that in. So if you have not completed your FAFSA, your tax return, parents, remember, it's not going to allow you to transfer from the IRS. So please, please, please remember, if you have not completed your your tax returns, it will not allow you to transfer into your FAFSA form. So you have to have everything cleared up before you can use your FAFSA. Okay. Someone asked me to put the screen back on the scanner code so that they can make their appointments. So I'm putting it back there. No, the 22 tax return is done, but in the process of amending. So if you're going to amend to make it benefit you, then I would amend first if it's going to help you in any way. Then the second response would be, if you go into amending while you are completing and trying to go to the retrieval, it will lock your retrieval. Okay, so it won't allow you to retrieve when you need to retrieve because it's in pending. Please keep in mind, if you have any problems with the FAFSA right now, I'm sorry, with your tax returns, and you are trying to clear those problems up, when it's time in December, it will not allow you to populate. It will tell you error. And until you get that error fixed, it won't allow us to transfer your FAFSA or you to transfer your FAFSA. So please keep that in mind, okay? Ms. Plummer, you're sending me your email because maybe are you telling me the calendar didn't pop up for you, Ms. Plummer?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I'll write your name down as well. I apologize, guys. I was trying to make sure all of these things was in order before we jumped on tonight, but something must have went haywire and me trying to make sure. So I will make sure, if you have already registered, I will make sure I send you the direct link to my calendar. My assistant will have it done for you first thing in the morning.
Hi, Regina. I have a question.
Mhm.
So I was the one that asked the question about the bank statements. So I was under the impression that we actually upload bank statements, but it sounds like we just put a number in there of what's in the account.
Yes, so you never upload. So here's another thing. Okay, y'all know I'm gonna say I didn't say this, but so if you come back and say Ms. Robinson said, I'm gonna say I didn't say it, but they can only see primarily what's in your IRS data retrieval, meaning the colleges, the schools, they can only ask for what the IRS shows. The IRS never shows how much is in your bank account, which is why I said the example, if you have $10,000 in your savings and the roof blows off tomorrow, do you really have $10,000 in your savings? Would I be telling somebody that? No. I would not be telling somebody I got $10,000 in my savings account and then come tomorrow, my roof blow off and I don't have that $10,000 anymore. So be careful what you give all willy-nilly. That can't be confirmed or that's not being asked to be confirmed.
Okay, I was having a panic attack about that.
Yeah, no. So you do not upload any statements unless they're going to do this new rollout and they ask for it. In the past, they have never asked for that.
Okay, and then my last question is you mentioned that to review the specific school requirement to determine how your child ranks.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a question that we ask them? How do you calculate where your child ranks? Is that based on their GPA? How is that factored?
So, okay, two folds about that. So it's easy for my shining stars to do that because it's in an online database that they have access to, that you have to be in my program to have access to it. So it shows us all of their 50 percentiles. Some colleges show it and some don't on their website. You're going to have to go digging for that and hope that they actually show it on their website.
Okay, great. Thank you. And wonderful book.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, thank you. Do they require investment account information? Some, depending on your answers this year. So depending on your answers will be whether they require you to drop in any asset information, which is a new to the rollout. My child is a 2023 graduate. He is at his local community college. We have never applied for FAFSA for him. Can we apply for him 2024, 2025? Yes. If now all of a sudden you want to get some money possibly from the community college, yes. Because community colleges are just like four-year colleges. They do not give out money if you don't have a FAFSA on file. So yes, I would suggest for the 2024-2025 school year, go ahead and complete that FAFSA for your student. Parents, listen, don't leave any money on the table. Go get your money, especially if you might qualify for it and if it might open the doors for some additional money for you. All right, any other questions, please, by all means, you can come off mute now and and ask your questions, and I will try and answer them to the best of my ability. And I guess if we don't have no questions, that means that means I must have gave a lot and you guys got a lot out of this. And so that means you have no specific questions. And I know some people don't like to ask questions publicly, but I promise you this is your only way of asking. Please don't email me tomorrow saying, can you please tell me X such and such question? Because my email is overloaded and I probably will not get to answering your actual question. So please. While you have this time, you want to ask that question. Yes.
I have a question. Don't we have to fill out the FAFSA every year that they're in school?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Williams, for reminding everyone you must submit the FAFSA every year once your child is a senior going into college, and for the remainder of those 3 years that they will be in college. And if they wind up staying a 5th year, God forbid, you want to make sure you complete the FAFSA. Again, I found that out by going to my daughter's financial aid office. I thought, okay, if she just applied, it was only going to qualify for 4 years. Because she transferred, she's going to wind up having to stay an extra year. Her financial aid advisor was like, Miss Robinson, girl, you better get that FAFSA done again. I said, oh, don't say no another word. I'll be on it on December 1st, filling it out so we can get that money for year number 5. So parents, keep doing it all the way until your child leaves that particular college or university. Okay, it says, my daughter is applying to a program that does not require SAT scores. Do you know if SAT scores are beneficial to financial applications, although particular majors doesn't require it? The SAT scores have nothing to do with your FAFSA parents, not anything. They won't have not one question on the FAFSA about you taking testing or none of that, okay? So it will not have any information. Does having the prepaid college plan of 529 impact financial awards? For some schools, yay. For some schools, nay. It just depends on the school when it comes to these whole 529 plans and how they justify the 529 plans. So that is a definite specific question for the schools you are applying to, for sure, to make sure whether they have stipulations around that. So we can still stay on and answer a few more questions, but last but not least, you guys are going to receive a thank you email. And that thank you email is going to say, thank you for attending this masterclass. Please complete this survey. Please take 5 minutes to complete the surveys. We use those as testimonials on our websites. We use those as testimonials when we're trying to get other people to understand the importance of getting on a masterclass like this. We need that. And if you're on our social media and you follow us on social media, shout us out. We would love for you to shout us out on our social media. And if you learned something new, if you gained something new, if you're just excited you showed up, if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I did not miss this, then if you could type an emoji or a thank you or a something in the feed, then I know I have done my part, and I will feel good tonight saying that they got everything they needed. And some people were already saying that, but again, I always like to ask that before parents start jumping off because they maybe don't have any additional questions. Wanted to throw that out there. Again, we thank you to all the parents who showed up. That was new. And for all my returning parents who always rock with me, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're on this masterclass and you have a 2024 student, stay tuned. You're on our email list. I will do 2 more master classes in the spring for you. Those master classes will be, I got in, I got accepted, what's next? The next master class will be, I got in, I got accepted, now what's next when I go off to college? We will have 2 master classes remaining for you this school year, so that you can be educated and prepared to make the best decisions for you and your child. And then if you're a 2025, 2026, or 2027 parent on here, you want to jump on our upcoming Pick My Brain session that's going to be happening in November. I promise you, that session is going to be priceless. You're picking my brain for free when parents are in my program paying money for that. And you're going to get to pick my brain for free as long as you submit your questions. So don't miss out on registering for that masterclass. The emails have been coming out. If you've not had your child or your students attend college tours, we have college tours coming up. We're heading to North Carolina Central, North Carolina A&T. We're heading to Morgan, Coppin, and Delaware State. You can't expect your child to know if they like a school if they've never visited a school. So get them started early. Make sure you're including them on college tours, whether they're mine or anyone else's. Make sure they are going on college tours. Stay connected with us. If you are not connected with us on social media, do so on S4S College Bound. It was all at the bottom of our feed. And again, it's S4S College Bound on Facebook and Instagram. Rock with us on both of those platforms. We share college bound tips every day, all day. You will start to receive our newsletter because you registered for this particular masterclass. So again, I thank you guys for showing up, for tuning in, and I'm here for more questions. If you have any more questions, I'll stick around. I'm going back to the feed and make sure I didn't see any more posted after I went through the spill. And please, if you registered for me to assist you with the FAFSA, which I'm sure probably almost everyone did because you don't want to make any mistakes, then I will be sending you the link to my calendar immediately on tomorrow. My assistant will be sending you a personal email saying, click here and now schedule your appointment time if that did not show up for you. I'm just making sure. Does having the prepaid college plan of 529 impact financial? Okay, I got that one. Someone said I'm less stressed. Awesome. Okay, Nina. Okay, let me write your name down, Miss Doncourt. I might have said your first name wrong. I apologize. Okay, but I grabbed your name. When you say information, someone says, and I'm not sure if they're still on with us, they said any information about your program. Are you referring to our VIP College Bound program? And if so, what grade is your child? And you can come off of mute and ask me that question. Okay, someone said, hopefully there's a masterclass for parents of students already in college. If you send me an email of what you want that masterclass to look like, we have a college transition program for students who are already in college. That's a mentorship program where I mentor the students who are in college. So that could help. Oh, someone said the Shining Stars. Oh, the Shining Stars are students who are, oh, go ahead. Someone's coming off of mute.
That was me, the Shining Stars. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So our Shining Stars are, when I reference Shining Stars, those are students who are in our VIP College Bound program, where I said we've been helping students get over $25 million in scholarships and grants. We have what we call a VIP College Bound program that walks students through the entire college admissions process, from researching colleges to creating their list, to writing their college essays, to working with their counselors to get their recommendations, to creating their college list, to reviewing their colleges, to providing them with the list of scholarships and access to help with their scholarship essays, to actually completing their applications and making their final decisions. That is called our VIP College Bound program. And that's for all grade levels. We primarily take students starting in 10th grade. If they're in the 9th grade, they have to interview to be in our program. If they're in the 10th, 11th, or 12th grade, they have to have at least a 2.5 GPA cumulative to enroll in the program.
Regina, is that program, I know that's the VIP program, but is there a way that you can customize a program with you for certain services that we may need?
As long as you have a current, or do you have a current senior 2024?
Yes.
Yes. If you have a current senior for 2024 and you're like, okay, Ms. Robinson, I don't need everything because my kid did such and such, such and such, such and such, depending on what you need. When we talk, we can create a program for you. It only depends on what parents need. I try not to take a lot of families on the a la carte thing, depending on what parts of it that they need, so that way, if they quote unquote kids don't get 7 out of 7 and they hear me bragging about my other kids who got 7 out of 7 or 7 out of 10 acceptances, I don't want them to say, well, my kid didn't. Well, probably because they weren't with me for the whole entire scope, which is why they maybe didn't get 7 out of 7. So I'm very reluctant on what I take for a la carte. That's why parents will always need to reach out first before I would be willing to take them as a la carte, because I need to know what it is that they are looking for in a la carte services.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yep, and you can easily send me an email or just contact me in the office and ask the questions that you have, or you can just go on our website under Contact Us and you can book a discovery call. And then we can go through what it is that you know your child particularly needs, and we can knock through that. And so keep in mind though, you want to do it now more than later. I don't work with students. All of my kids are done with their applications before November 15th. I do not work with seniors after November 15th because all of my Shining Stars have already applied to their colleges and they're getting acceptances by then. So keep in mind they have between now and November 15th to get with me and get everything done, and it's doable.
Okay, thank you. We are 99% done with Common App.
Oh, good.
So it's
Okay.
just me going in reviewing everything that was put in there.
Yes, please, parents, review the class of 2024. Parents, please review your children's Common Apps. Although my kids are with me all day, every day, they do their Common Apps on their own. by the time I go in and review their Common Apps, for the majority of them, they got errors.
Right, that's why I'm reviewing.
So please, parents, do not let these kids submit their Common Apps on their own without you reviewing it. They could put something in there detrimental that would cause them to get a yay or a nay on their applications, and it would have taken you time to go through and review them all, or to get someone like myself to help you review them all. Please make sure, and please make sure you have read their essays, or someone at their school have read their essays, or you have hired someone to help them with their essays before they submit. Colleges now, more than ever, are holding kids accountable in their college essays. They are not giving slack anymore on the college essays. Your kid either got it or they don't, and that's how they're judging them. And so you want to make sure your student has the best application and the best presentation of themselves that they can have.
Okay, I don't want to take up much time, but that's the part that that's the major part that I need to really hone in on. And then
Okay.
I know this optional SAT or ACT score, is it, if they're saying it's optional, is it really valuable to put a score in there? Or is it really necessary to sit for the next SAT?
Okay, so here's what, for all of you who hung out to the end, I didn't say this on the other part and everybody jumped off. I'm gonna stop the recording and everything. So thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's FAFSA Masterclass. Stay tuned, you'll get this recording in your inbox. All right, hold tight, I'm gonna stop it.